In this exercise, we will learn how to create the depth of field effect, and we will create this animation. I'm gonna play it one more time. I go to After Effects, New Composition. I'm gonna set the duration to 10 seconds. Okay. Right click, import file. I go to exercise 46. I select all the images and click on import. I'm gonna start by bringing the background, drag and drop like this, and I'm gonna bring the slogan, drag and drop like this, and the bucket, drag and drop. Now I'm gonna make all these layers 3D. I activate 3D here. I go to two views and I'm gonna select the background. I'm gonna move it all the way in the back here. The slogan, I'm gonna put it just in front of the background like this. And the bucket, I'm gonna select it and place it right here. I don't want it to be very close to the slogan. I'm gonna keep it right here. I'm gonna select the background, press S to bring the scale, and I'm gonna scale it up to 140. I'm gonna make it big like this. And next, gonna zoom in a little bit. Gonna bring the chicken, drag and drop like this. I'm gonna make it 3D. I activate it. Gonna place it right here. I'm gonna move it a little bit up like this and make sure it's positioned in front of the bucket. It needs to be in front like this. And gonna take it a little bit up like this. Now I'm gonna make this chicken rotate. I'm gonna press R, bring the rotation. I go to the Z rotation. I'm gonna press Alt and click on the stopwatch. Now I can add an expression. I'm gonna type time multiplied star multiplied by 60. And now when I play, the chicken is gonna infinitely rotate like this. This is what I want without using any keyframes. Now we have this chicken rotating. I'm gonna duplicate this, Control D, and I'm gonna take the copy right here. Make sure there is almost the same distance from here to here and from here to here. I'm gonna select the two pieces of chicken, Control D, I duplicate. I'm gonna take the copies up here, Control D one more time, and I'm gonna take the copies a little bit down here. Now we have 6 pieces of chicken. Now when I play, we have 6 pieces of chicken rotating like this. This is what we want. I'm gonna click on this piece of chicken, go all the way here, press shift and click. I select the 6 pieces of chicken. Control D to duplicate, and I'm gonna take the copies here. I move them on the Z axis like this. Control D one more time. I duplicate one more time, and I'm gonna take the copies right here. Now we have 6 pieces of chicken multiplied by 3, 18 in total. I'm gonna play. Gonna zoom in a little bit, and we see the pieces of chicken rotating like this. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna add a camera. To do that, I go to layer, new camera, type one node camera. The name, I'm not gonna change this. I'm gonna set the focal length to 28 like this. And very important, I'm gonna enable depth of field. Make sure this is checked. This is very important. And click on OK. If you wish to change the settings of the camera one more time, you can always double click and change it, like 50 for example, but we need a wider angle. That's why I need 28 focal length like this. And now I'm gonna move this a little bit back like this. I'm gonna change the view to custom view 1. I'm gonna take it a little bit down like this and move it on the Y axis. Of course, I can use the gizmo, or I can simply open this up and use these values to change things. I'm gonna go to the background. I'm gonna put it a little bit down here, or I can scale it up even more. I'm gonna type 145 like this, make it bigger, and I think this looks good. Gonna go back to camera, gonna take it a little bit up like this. Now we see everything. This is what I want. This is going to be the starting point of the camera, and then I'm gonna move it. But before that, I'm gonna open camera 1, camera options. This is very important. We activated the depth of field effect. It's on here. You can turn it off or on. Right now it's not obvious. There is not a big difference whether you turn it on or off. But if I go to aperture here, I'm gonna take it to the extreme just to make the depth of field effect very visible. I'm gonna type 1000, press enter, and now you see everything is blurry. I'm gonna go back to top here, active camera, select this one. I go to top, and this line represents the focus distance. Any image, any object, any element that touches this line is going to be very sharp, and everything else in front of it or behind it is going to be very blurry, especially when the aperture is very high, like in this case. Now, if I select the camera and I move until the first row of chicken touches the white line, now you see here the chicken is very sharp and everything else is blurry. I keep going. Now the second row of chicken is very sharp. I keep going. Now the third row of chicken is very sharp and everything is blurry. I keep going. And now the bucket is very sharp and everything else is blurry. I'm gonna take the camera back here. I'm gonna keep it right here, and I'm gonna increase the blur level even more. Right now it's set to 100%. I'm gonna change this to 120. You see how the background is changing. I'm gonna change it to 120%. Now the objects that are not in focus are even blurrier. I'm gonna keep it that way. I'll move the camera just to show you how blurry the other things are. I'm gonna take the camera back here. This is going to be our starting point. I select the camera, I'm gonna press P and make sure the playhead is at 0 seconds. I'm gonna click on the stopwatch. I go to 4 seconds and I'm gonna move the camera from here to here until the white line touches the bucket and the bucket is in focus like this. I'm gonna change the Y value a little bit. I can change it from here, or can change the view like this. I zoom on the camera and I change the Y value a little bit. I take it up just to make the bucket centered like this. Now the camera goes from here to here, and as it moves we see the chicken in and out of focus like this until we reach the bucket of chicken. This is exactly what we want. Let's play. I'm gonna select both keyframes. F9 to easy ease. I'll go to graph editor. I'm gonna click on this point and drag this handle all the way to the left. I'm gonna make it very fast in the beginning, and then the movement is gonna slow down. I think this looks good. Let's leave the graph editor. Next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make all the chicken and the bucket, all these elements, I'm gonna move them to the left. To do that, I'm gonna use a null object. I'm gonna create a null object, layer, new, null object. We have our null object here. I'm gonna make it 3D also, the null object. Now it has X, Y, and Z values. I'm gonna select this piece of chicken, go all the way down here, press shift and click on bucket. Now everything is selected, all these elements selected. I'm gonna parent all these elements to the null object just like this. Now I'm gonna deselect, and at 5 seconds I'm gonna click on the null object, press P just to bring the position like this. I'm gonna click on the stopwatch and I'm gonna go 2 seconds forward. At 7 seconds I'm gonna move everything to the left by moving the null object. I'm gonna click and drag to the left like this. I change the value until all the elements leave the composition like this. Now you see here how all the pieces of chicken and the bucket are leaving the composition. This is exactly what we want. I play. I'm going to select both these keyframes, F9 to easy ease. I'll go to the graph editor. I click on this point. I'm going to move this handle all the way to the left. Let's play now. This looks much better. And the last thing I'm going to do, I have to move the graph editor. And the last thing I'm going to do, when all these elements leave, I want the focus of the camera to change from here. I'm going to change the view to top. I want the focus to change from here, where the bucket used to be, to where the slogan is, meaning right here. So at 5 seconds, I place the playhead right here. I open the camera. I'm gonna toggle this down. Camera selected. Toggle this down. Go to camera options. And here we have focus distance. I'm gonna click on the stopwatch here. Focus distance. And after 1 second, at 6 seconds, I'm gonna change the focus distance from here to here so we can see the slogan clearly. So I increase the value of focus distance and you see the white line moving. I'm gonna move it, increase the value until it touches the slogan just like this. Now the slogan is very sharp, as you see. And if I go back, you see what's happening in the active camera. See how it became sharp in 1 second. I think this looks very nice. Now we are done. I'm gonna toggle this up. I'm gonna go back to one view and now I'm gonna play the entire animation. The exercise now is finished. You go do the same and don't forget to save.